Hey everybody, Ellen for tonight's Live for 5. I've got my Angry Orchard in my hand. I'm doing tonight's Live for 5 with a drink in my hand. My friend Kristen is in the other room. She's being all quiet so I can do my Live for 5. But today I want to talk about something that's kind of been a driving force for me over the last few years. And it's this idea of choosing long-term happiness instead of short-term pleasure. And what I mean by that is if you think about, we'll use dieting for an example because it's something that a lot of people can relate to. So if you think about short-term or long-term, if you think about long-term, we all have goals about, wanting to be healthier, wanting to, eat more vegetables, wanting to lose a certain amount of weight, weigh a certain amount, be a certain size, have a six-pack, whatever your diet or health-related goals are. And then things that sabotage us in terms of achieving those goals are the temptations along the way, right? The beer. This is a hilarious example to use right now because I'm drinking a beer or a cider. Like the things that sabotage us along the way are, we're out with friends and we want that appetizer because it sounds so good. My battery always goes low during these videos. But we see these things along the way that threaten to sabotage us because they are something that short term would be really, really pleasurable, right? Having that beer, having, that ice cream, having that appetizer or those french fries or whatever in terms of health and fitness. That's a good example because those are the things that sabotage us along the way. In terms of achieving long-term goals, it can be something like short-term, it sounds good to sleep in instead of wake up and, apply to that job. It sounds good to sit around and watch TV with our family instead of working on our business or working on achieving our goals. It's those choices that we make that allow us short-term pleasure but push us away from something that will help us long-term to be happier and to have the things that we want in our lives. And really realizing and being aware of the short-term the choices that we're making that will give us pleasure short-term but will keep us away from our long-term happiness is something that I really struggle with. It's something I know a lot of people in my life really struggle with, and it's something that I think we all could really, really learn to be more aware of. I'm not saying don't seek short-term pleasure ever, but when you're pursuing some sort of long-term goal, no matter what it's related to, whether it's your health and fitness, whether it's wanting to change careers, whether it's, wanting to spend more time with your family, when you have those long-term goals, whatever they may be, and you're sabotaging yourself because you're seeking those short-term pleasures instead. So something that I've built into, I've talked about, I do a limiting belief statement. I think I've talked about, I do all sorts of kind of affirmation statements, and something that I built into my affirmation statement is that I will choose long-term happiness over short-term pleasure. And it's this idea of not letting those little choices that, fulfill those temptations that fulfill me and will give me pleasure short-term, not letting those little things sabotage me from achieving my long-term happiness, because it's saying no to those temptations over time, those cumulative small choices over time that really help us to achieve our long-term happiness. So that's some food for thought tonight, just being aware of and really attempting not to let those short-term pleasure choices drive you and to remain focused on the things that will bring you long-term happiness. So that's really all I want to talk about tonight. Short and sweet tonight. I'm going to go back and hang out with Kristen since she's been a good little sport while I made my Live for 5 video. And I will talk to you all later. I'm going to be a little scarce this weekend because we're going to be up in the UP having a heck of a time. You'll see lots of pictures on my Facebook page. So I will continue posting as much as I can, but I hope you all have an awesome weekend. Yeah, have a great night, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.